what brings you into counseling today?
Well, I'm having some issues with like myself that are leading to problems with my boyfriend. I was depressed for a little while and I didn't know how to deal with it and I didn't address it as depression. So when I felt upset or was having a bad day, I would try and attribute those negative feelings to something so that I didn't feel as bad about just being upset. And it led to me kind of picking at little things that my boyfriend was doing, which eventually led to arguments and us breaking up. We are back together now, but there are still some things that need to be addressed that I feel like we don't know how.
So you're confused and stressed about this unknown, that you don't know how to address these feelings that both of you are having, these conflicts that both of you are having, but you don't know how to address them.
Yes, and I am especially kind of like nervous and stressed out about like our current state because we are both going abroad next semester, and I want things to be okay before we leave so that we can both still trust each other and be happy and have a good time while we're apart from each other, and so that arguments like that don't start while we're away, because it will definitely be harder to resolve those problems when we're in two different countries.
So that adds to your conflicts.
Yes.
What is your current plan going into your abroad?
Well, I'm going to be going to Greece. He's going to be in France. We are, as for seeing each other while we're away, we are trying to plan trips. And that does make me feel a little bit better about us. But right now, our biggest problem is, not that his friends are the problem, but there's like tension between me and his girlfriends because of feelings that one of them had towards me, and I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. So when I am in a room with them, it's kind of that whole friend group against me, and I feel uncomfortable. And normally when Colin and I are out, I am perfectly fine on my own. We can do our own things at a party and be fine. But because I am so uncomfortable, he forgets that he can't just leave me by myself. And I've tried to address to him, like, you need to tend to me a little more, like, don't leave me alone, talk to me a little more, because I am so uncomfortable. And when I do say things like that, he feels like I'm coming at him instead of just trying to fix the problem.
Right, so communication is proving to be a little difficult right now.
Yes.
On top of all the added stress that you have,
Yes.
and on top of this uncomfortability that you have.
Yes.
And the communication not fitting together is definitely causing an issue for you because you have this issue and you're wanting to talk about it and address it, and he feels like he's being attacked.
Yes. Communication has always, for the past 3 years, been something that we struggle with, because anytime either of us does address something, the other one kind of gets a little defensive. And I do remind him, like, I'm not trying to argue with you, I'm just trying to address this, because we did take a break thinking that, okay, this is something that's adding to my stress, my anxiety, so let's kind of just take a break and I won't come around, and then I won't be in that situation. But then I realized I didn't like not coming around and not seeing him and not being with him, and us not being together wasn't fixing the problem, it was more avoiding it. So now that we're back together, I don't know how to address it and still like avoid an argument from occurring.
So what I'm gathering is you're definitely trying to address your feelings. You want to share that, you want to express that to him. Is he reciprocating that?
He is, especially what he was struggling with was when I do have bad days, because I still do kind of struggle with like controlling everything. If I'm having a bad day, sometimes I still don't know how to deal with it, and I do kind of like snap. And on those days, like, I'm not affectionate at all. I don't want to be touched. I don't really want to be talked to. Like, I want to be around him because I don't want to be alone. And he tries to do things to make me happy. Like, one day he got me flowers, and I knew I should have been happy about getting flowers, but like I wasn't, just because nothing was changing my mood. So things like that upset him, and we'll talk about that. So he does get upset when I can't handle my emotions. So sometimes he feels like me talking about being uncomfortable around his friends is just me having a bad day or not being able to control my emotions.
So the communication issues tend to come back to personal issues that you're having or personal issues that he's having.
Yes.
And obviously insecurities are going to arise in any relationship, in any person. So it's how you deal with your insecurities and
Yes.
bring them to the communication table.
Yes.
That we're going to make a communication table. And it's how you bring them to each other is how this issue or this conflict is coming to be.
Yes, it definitely has been getting a little bit better. I, like, emotion-wise, I have been fine for a while now, so I haven't been, like, having as many, like, bad days. So that is something that we've been able to avoid, because obviously those bad days do add to some of our arguments. And we still kind of are trying to work on, like, the uncomfortableness with his friends, and part of me gets kind of upset because, like, the insecurities that I have kind of come out because I know that he's not tending to me as much because I'm normally fine on my own, but I kind of, for some reason, like, switch it around in my head, and I'm like, oh, like, he's not talking to me because he doesn't want all these people to know that we're back together, or, so, like, all of these things kind of pop up in my head, which obviously make it worse.
Right.
So I feel like if I could just avoid and, like, stay confident that he does care about me and he does want to be with me and that's not what he's doing, he's not trying to hide us, then it would make me more comfortable. But at the same time, like, I can't help when, like, those thoughts come to my mind.
Would you like a relationship with his friends, like his girlfriends?
I would. I've always been someone who wants to be friends with, like, my partner's friends. And in high school, it was easier because we had the same friends. I was around the friends all the time. But now in college, like, we have 2 separate friend groups. And when we were on a break in the beginning of the year, I did kind of put myself out there a little more. I definitely go out with my friends more, whereas the past 2 years, we kind of just did everything together. And I didn't like that, which is part of the reason we had taken a break to begin with, because I wanted to kind of find myself, like, outside of the relationship. And so I definitely do, like, do my own thing a little more, and I want to be friends with his friends because I feel like that will make our relationship stronger as well, but I don't know how.
Okay. Okay, what the heck? Oh, there it is.